So Occam's razor is very useful to decide between the explanations of a lot of things, but then sometimes human behavior can get involved and are rather varied and very hard to predict. And so we need to use another method which is known as Hanlon's razor. Hanlon's razor is reminding us that the simplest and most likely explanation for misbehavior is rather stupidity rather than malice. So imagine you're now driving a car. You're chilling and you're vibing to the music, and all of a sudden, some hothead driver cuts you off in the middle of traffic. Before you get carried away by road rage, you just ask yourself, what's the point of this behavior? Well, one is that she probably just acted with malice, which most people come towards, and then they start to go in a road rage and they probably even cause an accident or something, or just risk the people that are even in the car for just something that's not even, you don't even know what the reality or truth is. So you could assume there's some evil intention behind her action, but for that to be true, there needs to be a whole series of events or conditions that need to also be true. She would have had to seen your car, had the desire to cut you off, decided to act on that desire, come up with a plan to get in front of you, and then maneuvered her own car accordingly. That seems like such a ridiculous amount of usage of energy and time and investment for just such a small act that will last for like 30 seconds. The simple explanation can be just that she didn't even see you and it was just a simple mistake. The underlying idea here is that intentional acts of wrongdoing tend to require a lot of time and energy and thought, which isn't even worth for the most part. Mistakes are a lot easier to make and they just require ignorance, laziness, or a lapse of judgment. That's not to say that people never ever do evil on purpose. It's just a healthy reminder that this is the exception to the rule. It might not always feel this way, but the truth is that most people aren't out to get us, or even when they do wrong especially. The mindset as well is bad to retain, as you can have a negative view of the entire world and bias. This can make you into the archetype or develop a persona of a tyrant or a weak archetype who's highly insecure and will victimize themselves in situations and place rules against even the people that they love and actually care about them just because they feel insecure. Instead, like us, they're just stumbling through life, stepping on other people's toes, unfortunately, in the process. Sometimes the toes just happen to have belonged to us. And the result can hurt, but we shouldn't take it so personally. And we shouldn't assume that the worst intentions when we don't even know what the facts are. So instead of acting upon road rage and risking your life for a 30-second cutoff, which you don't even know is intentional, just deal with the situation as best as we can and keep a cool head. And then reuse your energy and time and thought to move on to and improving your life for something that's more efficient and more effective, that's going to provide you value. An action step I recommend is when confronted with a situation where someone's actions or behaviors seems negative or frustrating, just spend some time before you act. Just pause and reflect rather than immediately assigning malicious intent to that person and acting upon that as revenge. I understand it's very tempting to jump to those conclusions. Everyone has, and even personally myself, as we inherently have negativity bias, but you need to start to change this mindset. Otherwise, you will end up wasting your time, thoughts, and energy on something that wasn't even a fact or even worth it in the first place. It puts you in a situation you wish you wouldn't even been in the first place. You just sat there and just kept a cool head to just think about what's going on. Then consider the alternative explanations. Instead of assuming malice, explore alternative explanations for the person's actions. Is it their ignorance or lack of skill or whatever it is? Then seek clarification if you can through an open-ended questions to gain perspective and motivations. Offer assistance or solutions if it's incompetence or ignorance, which can help the person and promote a cooperative and more collaborative environment. Promote open communication to encourage being honest, especially in your interactions with others, which makes it a more comfortable environment for people to admit mistakes and seek help. Avoid jumping to conclusions and give people the opportunity to explain themselves. Document and learn what affects them and use those instances as opportunities for learning and improvement. By applying these types of things, you can gain a more understanding and a constructive environment in your interactions with other people. Hanlon's razor, as you can see, encourages empathy and assumes goodwill, which improves relationships and provides effective problem solving. And I understand that there's people out there that might have evil intentions, and you can't exactly control or change that behavior of a person. The best thing you can really do is just distance yourself away from those types of people. And just having standards and making sure you stand up for yourself in those situations as well. But sometimes over even the smallest things, like when someone cuts us off traffic, it's not worth just risking your life for someone who does that, probably in a Toyota Corolla or something. And just try and use Hanlon's razor in those types of scenarios, which are not even worth. But anyways, if you enjoyed and liked this video, then like and subscribe and stay tuned for the next part. And we're going to be looking at more mental models later on.